All right, let's dive right into this explainer. You know, we hear a ton about AI right now, but how you actually deploy it, that's what makes all the difference. Today, we're unpacking a massive shift, moving away from generic, commodity AI towards something called sovereign intelligence, and why making that switch is unlocking absolutely incredible enterprise value.
5. As in a 5x return on investment. Organizations that treat AI sovereignty as absolutely mission-critical are seeing up to a 5x ROI compared to their peers who are just relying on generic off-the-shelf models. Today, we're going to reverse engineer exactly how they achieve that multiple using a powerful framework from the Proprietary Intelligence Foundry research.
Here's our flight path for this explainer. We'll start with 1, the 5x AI ROI secret. Then move to 2, the tacit knowledge gap. 3, we'll compare commodity versus sovereign AI. 4, explore the Proprietary Intelligence Foundry. And finally, 5, map out your strategic implementation roadmap. Okay, kicking things off with Section 1, the 5 by AI ROI secret, shifting the generative AI paradigm.
So to really understand where that incredible 5x return comes from, we have to completely rethink enterprise knowledge. The strategic question fundamentally shifts from what data can we feed the AI to how do we make our collective expertise available to AI systems. It's not just about dumping a bunch of PDF manuals into a database, it's about systematically embedding your organization's unique human reasoning right into the system itself.
Moving on to Section 2, the tacit knowledge gap, the hidden mass of the enterprise iceberg.
Okay, so what exactly do we mean by tacit knowledge? Well, it's the experience-based judgment, the heuristics, the pattern recognition, the exception handling, and the core decision reasoning that lives primarily inside your expert practitioners' heads. You know, it's that uncodified gut feeling that makes your top performers so invaluable. The big problem here? Traditional knowledge management systems just capture the final report. They completely miss the brilliant reasoning it actually took to write it. Think of your enterprise knowledge like a giant iceberg. Right now, commodity AI is basically just scraping the surface. It's only accessing that visible 20% of structured data in your databases, but it entirely misses the massive 80% of tacit knowledge hidden right beneath the surface. I mean, if you're only applying AI to 20% of what your company actually knows, you are leaving a massive amount of ROI on the table. And honestly, there is a ticking clock attached to this. Experts are calling it the silver tsunami. As large cohorts of seasoned experts reach retirement age, this undocumented 80% is literally walking right out the door. If you don't capture that tacit knowledge, your organization faces a devastating, multi-trillion-dollar threat of lost institutional memory.
Which brings us to Section 3, commodity versus sovereign AI, renting intelligence versus owning an asset.
This is where we hit the real battlefield of AI strategies. On one side, commodity large language models. These come with unpredictable costs, serious IP leakage risks, and they completely lack your deep organizational context. Contrast that with sovereign small language models, or SLMs. With SLMs, you retain full data control, the model actually encodes your proprietary experience, and it delivers exceptionally high domain performance. Honestly, renting massive general-purpose LLMs is a strategic dead end compared to owning right-sized sovereign models.
And the efficiency difference here, it is absolutely staggering. By deploying these specialized SLMs inside the corporate perimeter, organizations are finding they're up to 23 times more efficient for specific domain tasks. 23 times. You aren't boiling the ocean with some giant generic model. You're using a precise, highly cost-effective tool tailored specifically to your exact business.
That leads perfectly into Section 4, the Proprietary Intelligence Foundry, harvesting and scaling expertise.
The ultimate goal we're aiming for here is transforming institutional memory into living organizational intelligence. The Foundry isn't just a shiny new piece of technology. It's a systematic process that harvests human reasoning and transforms it into a compounding, defensible, competitive moat. Literally, it is how you turn what your people know into a highly valuable, tangible digital asset. This Foundry architecture functions a lot like a pipeline. First, it kicks off with expertise discovery networks to actually locate your internal experts. Then, tacit knowledge harvesting pulls out their insights. All of that feeds right into an ExperienceBase repository. This rich data then powers a right-sized model factory to train your SLMs, which is all carefully overseen by governance and validation. Finally, it hits the delivery layer, pushing that freshly harvested intelligence straight into your team's daily workflows. If we zoom in specifically on that tacit knowledge harvesting step, the process involves structured interviews, dialogue capture, and reasoning extraction. But here is the really cool twist. We use generative AI not as some generic chatbot, but as an active extractor of heuristics and human judgment. The AI actually helps interview your experts and codifies their highly nuanced thought processes.
As the research points out, enterprises will not merely consume AI. They will own intelligence that compounds, reduces dependence on external providers, and creates a genuine competitive asset. All of this harvested reasoning trains your sovereign models, ensuring your AI encodes proprietary experience that your competitors simply cannot copy. Your models literally get smarter every single time your company solves a problem, and that right there is exactly where that compounding 5x ROI comes from.
All right, final section, number 5, your strategic implementation roadmap, from pilot to sovereign operations.
So you might be wondering, how fast can we actually move on this? Well, in months 1 and 2, you establish your Phase 0 foundation. By months 3 to 6, you launch a Phase 1 harvest pilot in a high-value area of the business. Overlapping that, in months 4 through 8, you stand up the Phase 2 model factory. And finally, from months 6 to 18, it's Phase 3, where you scale and systematize. You can go from selecting a domain pilot to deploying a full hybrid agent architecture in under a year and a half. Now, what about the cost? Because you're using highly efficient, right-sized models instead of incredibly expensive commodity LLMs, conservative financial models show a complete payback within just 12 to 24 months. You are solving real, tangible business bottlenecks with targeted AI, which drives immediate financial returns.
But to actually guarantee that 5x ROI we keep talking about, you must meticulously track specific success metrics. We're talking knowledge coverage percentage, model performance versus an expert baseline, time to insight reductions, cost per inference, and rock-solid business outcome KPIs like deal velocity or onboarding time. Grounding your AI deployment in tangible, undeniable outcomes is absolutely crucial to proving its value.
Ultimately, the difference between these two strategies is pretty stark. Renting a temporary capability where you're entirely dependent on generic external models is basically like renting an apartment where the landlord gets to keep all your furniture when you leave. Building an enduring asset through sovereign models, though, that appreciates with your proprietary data. You have to stop bleeding cash on a temporary service and start genuinely investing in your own organizational intelligence. So I'm going to leave you with this final thought to consider about your own organization's future. Is your current AI strategy actually building a compounding corporate asset, or are you just renting a temporary capability? I really hope this explainer helps you build a smarter, vastly more defensible enterprise.